Welcome to the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
That's Ashley.
That's Kim. We're here to recap and relive the first 4 episodes of Doctor Slump with you, our listeners.
It's going to be part 1 of 4, right?
Yes. If there's 16, we're doing...
Yes. It's going to be part 1 of 4. So if you haven't yet, make sure you go watch those episodes and then come meet us back here so we can talk about the show together. So let's jump into it.
Welcome to the KDrama Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kim.
We're here to unpack your all-time favorite Korean dramas and chat about all the reasons that we find these shows so charming.
And so addictive. And we know you do too, so settle in with some ramen and a boba tea while we dive into the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim. I'm feeling very insecure about the episode. I don't know why. We talk about K-dramas all the time. It makes me nervous to go off script.
Yeah. No, I think the reason that we're feeling like overwhelmed with it is because we're usually so good at
Reading our...
Well, we have our notes and we have, okay, ... happened rather than, okay, here's...
An actual dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, we just stood upstairs and I was like, hey,
but we didn't do it in front of people.
We didn't. We're talking about Doctor Slump today, guys. It is a very, very well done drama. I've really enjoyed watching it again because I have seen it.
This is actually as far as I've watched the first time.
Okay.
So I've seen everything twice, which is kind of nice to...
Not be so... What is
not
happening?
All fresh.
Right.
Yeah. Doctor Slump premiered in January of 2024. I almost said 2023. Whew. In January of 2024, so it's been out for about an entire year now. Mm-hmm. And we watched it as it premiered.
Yeah. At least the first episode together, I think, didn't we?
I think we might have, yeah. Because we were like, ooh, it has Park HyungSik.
Mm-hmm.
I almost said Park Young-min. I don't even know who that is.
I don't either. Easily one of our favorite.
One of our favorite actors.
Love everything that he's ever been in.
But this show was written by Baek Sun-woo, who is known for My Roommate is a Gumiho. I think you told me about that one. Gumiho?
No, because I've never seen it, but I think we've seen it scrolling on.
Okay, yeah. Rude Miss Young-ae and Drinking Solo. And it was directed by Hyun Jong-oh, who has directed Find Me in Your Memory, 7th Grade Civil Servant, and Only One Person. I have heard of the second one, but okay. I have not actually seen it. Do you want to introduce our main actors?
Yes, so our 4 main actors, we have Park HyungSik, who we love tremendously. He's in Hwarang, Strong Woman Dong Bong Soon, which is the first one that I ever saw him in, and I didn't realize, I thought about it today, actually. Mm-hmm. When I started watching K-dramas, because that was probably in the first 3 that I ever watched, it was a brand new drama. Like, it had just been released.
I'm jealous.
And so, when I watched it, it was a new drama to, obviously new to Netflix at the time, but that was
yeah, it was fresh.
It was fresh. So I didn't know that then. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of fun.
He's in a show called Happiness, The Heirs, Suits, and he's in an upcoming drama called 12. He's supposed to be the bad guy.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I'm so excited to see him as a villain.
I've seen all of those, which is crazy. I never, I don't watch dramas as often as you do, because I just return to the ones that I know. Right. Because I like to watch the same ones over and over again.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're way better about, branching out and actually watching new things. But the fact that I've seen his entire list of dramas just goes to show you how much we adore
and his acting. There's many, many others that I have not even listed.
Because you haven't seen The Heirs, have you? We started it,
and then there's a couple other shows that I haven't seen that I know he's in. Mm-hmm. But then we have Park Shin-hye. Shin-hye. She's in a movie called Call, and I haven't watched it, but I've heard about it. Mm-hmm. She's also in The Heirs, The Doctors, Pinocchio, Sisyphus, Memories of Alhambra, and her most recent one is The Judge from Hell. And that I have watched that one. It was very not my typical just for the content.
Mm-hmm.
But she did a great job. Like, she holds her own
Yeah.
against big names because she is a big name, at least in my book. Then we have Unpack, and he's in Forecasting Love and Weather. He is the sleazy
Schmucky husband.
Yeah,
Not so
fiance.
schmucky husband.
You Are My Spring, Itaewon Class, Hello My 20s, and his latest one is Cinderella at 2 a.m. I
We
believe
need to
that's
watch that.
on, I think it's on Viki.
I thought it was on Amazon.
That could be too. Viki and Amazon kind of have an agreement of sorts. And then we have Kong Song-ha, and she's in Daily Dose of Sunshine, First Child, and The Mayor. And there's others, but the only one of those that I've seen is Daily Dose of Sunshine.
That's the only one I recognized.
And she's with Park Bo-young. I was like, I know her name. Please don't die. I'm so sorry.
That's whose name you're trying to remember.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember what her name is. And I'm literally watching a show that has her in it right now. And I'm like, why can't I? Anyway. So yes, those are our 4 main. And I didn't do any of the side actors, which I love. The actor that plays the little brother. I love his character.
What is he in? I recognized him. What show are we watching? Doctor Slump.
Oh no.
We're off to a strong start.
We're doing fine.
I recognize him as like a bad guy. For some reason.
Okay.
Oh, he's in Family by Choice.
Oh, okay.
The one that I wanted you to watch with me.
Yeah.
We will be reviewing that show soon.
At some point.
I mean, at some point. So yes, I do not believe that this one is based off of any kind of like a webtoon. I know that there is a manga that is called Doctor Slump, but I don't think there's any sort of affiliation because it's a Japanese like hero story.
Oh, okay.
But Park Hyung-sik did say that although he's never personally experienced anything quite like the character's dire predicaments, he channeled his younger years as an idol singer and a rising actor when things were a lot more difficult. He said, I was able to act out the pain and the desire to get back on my feet by recalling the struggles I had when I started working. And he credits Baek Sun-woo for creating a character in JeongWoo that felt familiar and resembled him. I've had experiences where everything felt tough and I wanted to let go, but it wasn't too hard to break me. And I was able to get back up thanks to the people around me and my fans.
Oh.
Really sweet.
Oh, very sweet.
And then there was another quote in this same article. This is on primetimer.com. Park Hyung-sik says, I want Dr. Slump to be the work where people can feel the love and value of family, the importance of friends, and how important and necessary it is to love and protect ourselves. Figuring out how to navigate difficult times, especially when the cards seem to be stacked against you, is ultimately what Dr. Slump is all about. Mm-hmm. So I think that's well communicated. I agree. In this show. It has a lot of charm, but it really does an excellent job of speaking to just the reality of walking through the journey of mental health, if that's something that you struggle with. And I know in Korea that's an important topic because it may not be as openly discussed as we here in America might talk about those things. Right, yeah. Would you like to plug the Ashley T?
Oh, yeah. Go to the Ashley T on Instagram at the KDrama Show. I've mostly been sticking to what we're trying to figure out here for season 5 of figuring out shows. And there is a lot that has been going on in the world. I'm choosing just not to say anything about it because what we have as information might not be the most accurate. So it's not that we are unaware of what's going on. It's more just choosing to stay out of certain things that really are none of our business.
Let the professionals talk about it.
And so, yeah. So if it seems that I've been staying silent on a lot of things, I have. So anyway, follow us at the KDrama Show. We have been getting a lot of love in the last week after posting our, season 5 is coming out. So thank you for that.
Are you going to shout out some people?
No, because I don't have anybody written down because I totally forgot.
Just go find somebody.
I can't on here.
I got you.
It's all on there. Oh, no. We're shouting out 32_movies today.
Do we want to talk about some of our favorite moments first?
Sure. I think because I watched it as it was coming out, but then we both fell off of it, obviously, because it was coming out every week, and then we were just like, I can't just watch 2 episodes and then sit here. Like, I need more.
Netflix has conditioned us.
Rude. One of my favorite moments, I think it's like episode 2 when they agree to go out for drinks.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, they're realizing that they're not okay right now.
Mm-hmm.
And JeongWoo, who's played by Park HyungSik, asks HaNeul, hey, do you want to go out do you want to drink with me today? Like, I'm feeling down. I just need somebody to talk to, after he has overheard her tell her mom, I'm depressed. Like, I've been diagnosed with depression. And without letting her know that he knows, he's just trying to at least, reach out an olive branch of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And they go out for some soju, and they get a bit plastered, and they're going down the stairs, and he gets scared of the guy walking in a suit next to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh. But like, I'm scared of men in black suits.
Yeah.
Because I feel like somebody's coming after me.
Yeah, because they are.
Because they are. And then the forehead flicks. I'm like, okay, I've always wanted to do this since high school. I just want to flick you in the forehead. And she gets to flick him, and then her mom texting her saying, I don't care about having a successful daughter. I care about having a healthy daughter.
That was such a good moment.
And that, like, if that doesn't just show a mother's love right there, of just like, no, I care. Like, yeah, I want you to succeed, and I want you to, be able to accomplish all these things, but I'd rather you be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then them sitting on the bench,
weeping and wailing
together
in the street.
I felt that. Been there. I think that's one of my favorite moments, because it's so relatable, and it's just, her mom is
has
just wanting her daughter to be okay.
Yeah.
What's one of your favorite moments?
Oh, I think one of my favorite moments, and I think this is in episode 3, was the love party. When she walks out of her room and they're all wearing their little hats.
The depression party?
The depression party, yeah. And then starts to sing. What does she sing? You are created to receive the greatest love. And they have a cake, and she's just like, I can't believe this is happening right now.
What is going on?
This is awful. And they're so well-meaning, but it's just so incredibly cringy.
It hurt.
And
it hurt.
And then they sit down for a meal, and she's just like, please, anything to get me out of this situation. And they start giving her like, this is good for depression, red fish is good for depression, cabbage is good for depression. And she's like, please just eat your food, go about your business.
I beg of you.
I can feed myself, thank you very much.
Yes. Another one of my favorite is when JeongWoo and HaNeul have really started to solidify, like, being friends. And they're talking about, she's like, I've hit the bottom. I'm at rock bottom right now. And he tells her, well, since you've hit rock bottom, and she's like, what? I need to pick myself up and be happy. And he goes, no, just stay there. We're already at the bottom. We might as well take a break. And I was like, the first time I watched that, I was dealing with my own stuff.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that. But, like, I have never felt that so much. I mean, I didn't this time around because...
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes just take that break. But it was just a very sweet moment as well, of just being like, we're both at the bottom together. We might as well just not try so hard.
Sometimes it's like, just don't put the pressure on yourself to, like, be better if you're not better.
Yeah.
Like, acknowledge the fact that, yeah, this sucks right now. And things aren't going the way that I would like them to. And I'm really sad about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that ability, once you can acknowledge where you're at in that situation, to, like, grow through that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a process. It's not like the next day you're just going to be like, yeah.
Woohoo.
And there might be those moments, but that doesn't, it's like the net gain can do this. But if you, like, zoom in on the actual progress, there's a lot of, what
Up
I
and
mean?
down.
Yeah. And that's just life. And so it's nice when well-meaning people who are like, well, you just gotta, like, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. And it's like, yeah, that can work sometimes. And sometimes it doesn't.
And it's okay if it doesn't sometimes.
And, yeah. So it's nice when you have those people there. It's like, yeah, I'll be sad with you.
Yeah.
I think one of my other favorites is the moment where HaNeul, she busts into the courtroom with the evidence, and you're just like, yes.
Get it, girl.
But then the judge is like, yeah, I can't accept it if you're going to submit it this way. Go through the proper channels, and then we can talk about it. Mm-hmm. And then they acknowledge, like, this is real life. This is not like the movies. Sometimes you don't get that Cinderella ending that you want, or the movie ending that you want. And the way that they portray, like, reality slapping the characters in the face over and over again is refreshing.
Yes.
Because there's a part of you that knows that, like, they're gonna get the happy ending eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's a struggle to get there for once, and not like a
you're a table and
not
your
like
mom
a silly
doesn't
struggle.
Yeah.
It's a real struggle. Like, everyone can kind of relate on some level where you're wishing things will work out for you, and it just doesn't. And that's just the way it goes.
That's just how it works sometimes.
I think another one of my favorite moments is when HaNeul has, like, tripped and fallen and scraped her hand or something. I don't remember how.
Oh, when they're at the courthouse and she gets knocked over?
Yeah, that's what it is. So they go to the clinic to patch her up, and then he's like, we should just go watch the sunrise. And they do. And they drive over to the east side of Korea to do it on the East Coast. And they get there, and he says, oh, they waited for the sun to rise together, even though they knew it wasn't going to rise for them, basically.
Yeah.
Because it was cloudy. They got there, and they couldn't even see the sunrise because it was cloudy. And so they're like, we can just wait anyway. And I felt like there was some poetry in that where the hope for that moment wasn't that the sun was going to rise, but that someone was in the trenches with them while the sun was not rising.
Right.
And you kind of think of, like I think of, like, Job and his friends who just came and sat with him in silence after he was mourning, like, the loss of his entire
life,
family, and property, and all of his wealth just, like, was
yanked.
Snatched away, and they just were like, okay, we'll just hang out with you for a couple weeks.
We'll just be here.
Granted, they had some really crappy advice at the end of that story, but
that's true.
But sometimes the greatest thing you can do as a friend is to just not say anything and just be there. And they really had that moment, I felt like, on the beach together. Do you have any other?
When they get back from their trip, and Hongran, who is HaNeul's best friend, is like, oh my gosh, is that your first love? And
he's so tickled.
When he gets back in his room, and he's just like, who's that? Oh, that's just me. And, like, the overconfidence, I was like, oh my gosh. No, you're An Min-yuk. Like, you are from Do Bong-soon. Like, your overconfidence, and you're just like his charisma, it was the same.
Yeah.
It was the same.
Okay.
And I love that. Because then when they go shopping, and he's just, like, tickled about, like, oh, she wants me to go shopping with her. Like,
Okay, you brought up the shopping though.
Yes.
That's where I saw Mimin.
Yeah,
Mimin
was right there.
That moment when he's like sitting on the couch talking to himself and kind of just, like doing. Park Hyung-sik's physical comedy is so good.
So wonderful.
Like it's goofy, but it's not cringy for me, because there are some people who try to like be over the top and it just doesn't work for them.
He just plays it so well.
He does, and I don't even know if that's like his personality personally, because he seems very kind of just like here when you see him in interviews and all those kinds of things.
But I bet with his people,
maybe
there might be some of that goofy,
but he just plays that off so well. And the way that he just the physicality of how he like delivers those lines is so entertaining to watch.
It's comedic gold.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how I have yet to see Park Shin-hye in a drama where I feel like she always plays a woman who it's always the enemies to friends storyline, where she just cannot stand the person and then slowly like warms up to them. Like I'm thinking of like Inheritors, Memories of the Alhambra, where in that, I don't know if you remember, but the guy was basically gonna buy her house, or she's trying to like sell it to make ends meet, and she doesn't like him because he's
trying to take her brother's design
software.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's just it would be interesting to see her in a different capacity.
But yeah, for her character just to be more
more
enemies to friends.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if she would ever be interested in exploring like that other plots. Anyway,
moving on.
She's just always sad. Okay, she's just always sad in all of the dramas I've seen her in. She's sad in Inheritors because she's poor and her sister stole her mom's money.
Schmuck.
She's sad in Memories of the Alhambra because the guy she loves disappears. Spoiler alert, sorry. Sorry. Not like you were going to finish watching it.
No.
You didn't like it.
I didn't even get halfway through and I was like, I can't.
Did you get to the part where he's sitting in the bathtub?
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I tried watching it.
That was very just like sad.
Oh.
Because every time he hears that music, it means those guys are coming to kill him. And he has to try to survive
for however long.
Because if he dies in the video game, he dies in real life. Yeah. Anyway. My all-time favorite scene.
Yes.
The ants in the restaurant.
Oh, that was so good.
It was so good, where they show up to just be jerks because they are jerks, and they're mocking
their niece
for losing her job, and then the mom tells a lie while she's getting engaged, and so they see JeongWoo and HaNeul walking down the road, and they bring him in and then make fun of them again because it was a lie, and they're like, why did you have to lie about being a plastic surgeon? He goes, well, I am. They're like, okay, give us a discount. I'm like, why would you ask that? You were just very insulting
You're
to
so mean.
the people who took him in. I wrote it down because it's just that beautiful.
It was beautiful.
He critiques their looks because they beg him to.
He's not just being a jerk.
And he looks at one of them and says, given how old you are, your face has aged quite a bit. Your double eyelids were thick, right? But you can barely see them now. And it's because your skin is aging and sagging. But getting something minor done won't solve the problem. You need major eye surgery. And he looks at the other ant and he says, as for you, I see you got fillers for your smile lines, didn't you? But those fillers have spread out and are causing more wrinkles. What's even more serious is those sagging bulldog-like cheeks. You'll need a complete facelift. It needs to be lifted as much as possible to fix those saggy skin and wrinkles. You think a few tweaks will make you look a decade younger, right? No chance. You won't look even 6 months younger. Normally, people say plastic surgery is a reconstruction, but you two will need a full redevelopment. And I love how HaNeul like reaches over. She's like trying not to laugh, and she reaches over and like grabs her mom's hand because they're feel
both
so validated.
But they're both just like, we have to keep it together.
Hold it in.
Keep it together.
Hold it in. Don't laugh. It was so good.
It was great. Should we get into a little bit of what the story is rather than just our
no way, dude.
moments?
I do like those moments though where you as the audience feel like you got sweet justice.
The vindication of yes.
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 Do we want to kind of touch on like the mental health theme?
Sure. Basically, we have two characters who, one, they're living the high life. Everything is going their way, has been going their way for a long time. JeongWoo, like, he gets an award for his outstanding work, and he volunteers his time, and he, you know, he's
well liked,
being elevated even more. You know, he's very successful, has all these clinics,
sponsorships,
like
social media presence.
Yeah, he's living well.
Mm-hmm.
And then has a surgery, a normal surgery. This is not anything out of the ordinary. This is a routine thing. And to have a patient bleed out and die on his table. And I mean, there's that in and of itself, like, that's not a normal thing, especially in somebody's career who has very well established and has such a great track record, to then have somebody die that they're like, I don't know what happened. I didn't do anything wrong. Like, we have it all recorded.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even like it was, you know, this person got an infection, a secondary infection, and then, you know, got really sick and then died later.
Right.
She like brutally bled out on his table while he was trying to save her life, and it was very traumatic.
Yeah, and it happened in the blink of an eye for him. And so then he's in the middle of a malpractice trial of, was this intentional? Did you give her the wrong medication? Like, and the patient that died was like an heiress. So of course it's going to be even a bigger scandal.
There's money involved.
And so he goes from life is good and great and grand to
rock bottom.
I have nothing. I am billions of won in debt. I have to close down everything. I have to sell everything. And I'm now literally fighting to keep my license and to prove that I did not
murder this
person. And so the hit that he's taking is intense. And that is rock bottom. That's taking anybody down. So there's no way that...
Well, everything about his life is imploded, both the professional and the personal. Like,
yeah, he loses his friends.
He's going through this montage of him losing all of this money, his clinics, his house, his cars, his possessions, and then he goes, at least the difference between a failure and what was the other thing? They once said in a movie that failure and defeat mean two different things. Anyone can fail, but defeat was an utter fiasco usually found in legends, and I was defeated. Nevertheless, I still had friends who believed in me, so I'd keep fighting for the truth. And he walks into like a restaurant tent, and he's like smiling at his two old classmates who were like a friendly face. And then the one friend just clocks him in the face, and they get into a brawl, and they blame him.
Yeah, this is your fault.
Why did you kill her? We gave you everything. Like, we put all of our eggs in this basket, and you screwed it up for us.
Right.
And it blows up. And so he has literally nothing. Yeah. He has no family support because he gets a phone call from his mom where she just says...
They live abroad. They live in the U.S.
And she's like, are you okay? And he goes... Yeah, you know, it'll be fine. And she goes, don't screw up this appointment for your father, who's going to become, you know, the head of the National Heart Association in the United States. And, like, that's it.
And hangs up on him.
Yeah. And so, it's so interesting to see that he valued so much much in terms of like reputation and those kinds of things. And he really does pour himself out for other people.
Oh, yeah.
But then you have HaNeul, who like, she pours herself into her work. Like, it has always been work. It has always been school. It has always been about
study,
moving
succeed.
forward in life through like educational
the academic ladder.
what's the word I'm looking for? Avenues. And when she fails at that because of she's placed in just a terrible position.
Right. She's the opposite end where
people are purposely trying to sabotage her because they themselves are lazy and they're just trying to piggyback off of her and take advantage of her because of her low status. She loses all of that, but it was her decision to walk away from it.
Right.
She chose to no longer take the abuse because of her mental health. She chooses to walk away from that because she realizes that she's literally sacrificing herself for other people's gain, and she can't do it anymore. But she still has this support circle.
Right, because she even says, like, why do I have to take this? What did I do wrong for you to steal my dissertation, for you to come at me like this and you want to throw me under the bus? How about you do that instead?
Yeah.
You're the one who messed up. And so, yeah, we're on two different ends of
the voluntary and the involuntary.
Yeah.
But I think in some ways that was the great like struggle for HaNeul, was walking away from that. Like having to make the choice. I think if it had been made for her, she would have that excuse of it just wasn't in the cards.
Right. But
I still worked as hard as I could. But for her to like intentionally walk away from that is so against like who she is as a person, that it causes her to kind of spiral in that way, because she has so much of her self-worth centered around what her job is.
Yeah.
And that's why when she like jumps on that opportunity that is in the middle of nowhere and then it blows up in her face because of Kyungmin ratting her out for being
right, for standing up for herself,
a bad employee.
Right.
It's just she doesn't know who she is without a job. Whereas I think JeongWoo knows who he is, but he can't get anyone to recognize it.
Yeah.
Anyway. I feel like they just really jumped right into that depression diagnosis without really, I don't know. I feel like they diagnosed depression so quickly.
Yeah. And
just in general.
Right. And not saying that she isn't, like her character isn't, because she goes through a lot of like trying to figure out like, you know, some days I'm totally fine, and then the next day like I just want to lay in bed, and I can't do anything, and then I get really upset, and then like so she's going through it. But yeah, that was a very quick.
Here, take a little Quizlet. Okay, I'm going to prescribe you some medication.
Yeah,
That's how they do it in the U.S. too.
We don't love that here. So,
and not that I'm just of the opinion that I think there should be a progression. Like, absolutely, if medication is the route that you need to go after you've tried other less invasive methods, please, by all means, like, you've exhausted your resources. But, like, for example, like, when I went through a situation where I was in a place where I experienced, like, depression symptoms, there was no longevity to them. It was just that particular circumstance. But immediately there was, like, here, have antidepressants. And I'm like, that's not what I need.
Yeah.
It is not unhealthy to grieve. There is nothing wrong with grieving. And in that moment, they said, grieving is not normal. Like, it's not normal to feel sad. Now, it's not normal to feel sad every day, constantly. For a super long time. Yeah, that's not normal. But, like, I had just gotten news that I should have been sad about, and they're like, have antidepressants. And so I just think if you're not gonna do your due diligence as a provider to like explore, like be holistic about your care for a patient rather than being like, oh, you filled out this questionnaire,
boom,
have a pill.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I would agree with that.
I would say that she qualified for the needed antidepressants kind of situation.
Right.
But that's more just me speaking to like the healthcare system as a whole. I feel like we medicate, but we don't ever get to the root of the problem.
Right.
Anywho.
That's a soapbox that we could stand on for
for a while.
For a hot minute. No, but I love the writing of seeing them both at their lowest. And because throughout all of it, we get flashbacks of their high school days and the competition and the petty, because they're both very, very intelligent, very smart. They are number one and number two, constantly back and forth. And so to, after all of these years, see each other and not be at like your peak or even on a mountain anymore, like you're still rolling downhill.
We're Jack and Jill, we're tumbling.
And just like I really loved the relationship that they begin to build, because it gets stronger, and it's like, oh no, I actually care about this person. Like, maybe not romantically. I mean, JeongWoo has his moment of like, oh my gosh, I was your first love. Okay. Which is a great moment. Like, we enjoy that, but like of just being like, no, I just need somebody who can, like what you said earlier, I just need somebody who can sit here with me. And that's why I liked the part of him being like, you know what, we're already at rock bottom. Yeah. Let's just stay here for a bit.
I don't need the advice. I just need the warm body.
Quality time friends, man.
I like how you have like this fondness that you tend to look back on your childhood days with. Because even though they're like, yeah, I hated him in high school, I think they reflect on that because of the simplicity of, yeah, it's a rat race, but it's just me and him right now. You know what I mean? Like, the stakes are not that high. Whereas where they are in life now, the stakes are literally life and death. Livelihoods, homelessness, depression. Like, it's all on the table. Nothing is safe anymore. And that bubble just kind of is popped. And so they look back at that time just thinking about how simple it was. And I think they find that solace in one another because it takes them back to that when they meet again on that rooftop. Because he's up there crying. Yeah. Because his life is literally falling to pieces. Right. And he turns around and he's like, you again. It just like what do I yanks do now? Them back into that time of their life where things were just simple. And I think that, as well as, you know, what you had said, them being in the same kind of position in terms of losing everything, they just, like, that's it for them. Like, they have each other now, and no one else gets it.
We can sit on a park bench and just weep and
well, I mean, the schmucky friggin' high school reunion guy.
Oh, I have that as my anger me moment.
Yeah, we can get to that next. But I do appreciate that, like, the mental health aspect.
Recognizing
you almost feel a little bit hopeless with them at certain points, because I think that can be a lot of people's journey with mental health, is it just seems like there's no way out. But then as the audience, you're like, there's that person. Hey, like, reach out to that person.
Go do it.
And I think those are the things that, like, we can't see about our own lives that maybe other people can. Reach out to people.
please.
I like that the show addresses that even people on the mountaintop can fall from grace very quickly. Like you see with JeongWoo, who has it all. No one is safe. And the public eye is just, it is brutal. Not something to seek validation from. Social media, I wouldn't say peers, but kind of peers. It's just, don't worry about it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. The people that know you are the people that matter. You have to have that circle of people and your supports in place because people have to know you to be able to, like, speak truth into your life in these situations. And be able to just encourage you as you walk through life in these moments. And it's the people that are doing life with you whose words should hold the most meaning with you. And so when you get those stupid comments on social media,
ignore them.
Delete it. And walk on, like, continue on with your day. There's my soapbox for the day. But everybody hits a slump. It's nothing shameful.
Yeah.
Should we talk about some of the relationships before we get to the rage baiting?
Ooh, rage baiting. Yeah.
So YeongWoo and HaNeul. How do we feel about them? Let's talk about the progression of
progression. Okay, so we start with school days. Of they're on opposite sides of the country, and they are number one
in their respective schools,
areas.
Yeah.
Like, so then when HaNeul moves up to Seoul, and they are now competing for number one, the petty that he holds, I love it. I think it's hilarious. It's so funny because she is so focused on school. Yeah, of course she wants to be number one, but that's like
a fringe benefit.
Right. It's not like something to cry and lose sleep over. But she has a support system at home that's like, no, she's going to do this. She's got this. She's the best. And JeongWoo does not have that. And if he is not number one, there's going to be problems at home. But I love when, you know, he sees her studying and how they just push each other.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because literally, like, she's running, like, to get to school earlier.
Study more, yeah.
If you love to study, good for you. That was never me. Not like that. But even, like, he starts to run too because he's like, oh, I can't be late. Like, I need to, we have to be at least the same. And when she falls, he still goes out of his way to be like, let me help you up. Because he is a good person. Like, he's not, like, trying to get anybody hurt. But then she's just like, you know what? You've kind of been a bit of a turd. So I'm going to pull you down and play leapfrog, and I'm going to beat you there. And he just is like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But I love the beginning days of their petty and their competitiveness of, like, even, like, just not drinking coffee, just downing the instant coffee packets so you don't waste time to go to the bathroom. And from, you know, doing one and he's doing two because he's like, nah, I'm going to stay awake longer and study harder. And
I just remembered
one
of my other favorite when he's trying to keep up with her and he, like, stands up in the library and it's after midnight. He's like, yeah, nailed it. I finally beat her at something. And then he stands up and sees her still studying in the corner and he's just like, why?
Please let me go
Why are you
home?
like this? And then it's the next day and he looks terrible in class. He's pale and his eyes are just heavy and droopy. And she's over there taking notes, writing away. And he just kind of, like, stands up when the bell has rung after the teacher dismisses them.
Yes.
And he starts to stumble around. And he starts to swoon a little bit. And then you just see HaNeul collapse out of her desk. Like, she was fine. And then she just boom, on the ground. And he goes, even when it came to fainting, I was second. Okay. I rewatched that scene 5 times.
It's so funny.
Even when it comes to fainting,
I came in
still
second. It just... So yeah, I love the innocence and just how you said earlier of like their rat race of being in school.
Yeah.
To then present day of just being like, the only memories I have of this person is trying to beat them.
Yeah.
To try to be number one, and now we both
suck.
And but at the same time, like why am I feeling so comforted when I'm hanging out with this person? Why do I feel better? Like I don't feel alone. And so we just get that very fast turnaround for what high school was compared to
but we see those glimpses of them wanting to connect with the other person in high school even. Because when they were sitting in the nurse's office and he's like, she left without even saying anything, right? Because as soon as she wakes up, she looks at him and then immediately pulls out her notebook and starts studying. But what he doesn't see later is that she wrote him a note.
Right.
Like, hey, maybe we should just take care of ourselves. But she hears his mom
freaking out,
being like, why would you call me here if he just fainted? This is not that big of a deal. He should be studying. Like, worry about his education. I don't care if he's just fainted. And she kind of realizes... She just gets that glimpse into his motivation being like he's seeking love because he doesn't get it at home.
He has no one to...
Whereas her mom is like, we need to go to the hospital. Are you okay? And she's just like, please leave me alone.
I'm fine, Mom.
Yeah, so I feel like JeongWoo's problem is he wants his mother to love him, and I think that HaNeul's problem is that she just needs to care about herself. She needs to be gentle with herself. But they just take solace in the fact that no one around them has fallen from grace like these two have. And no one else gets it. No one else has worked as hard as they have to get to the positions that they were in. And can understand, like...
the pressures and...
Yeah, the pressures and the loss of a sense of like, purpose.
Well, even of security, of...
having money.
Having anything
having
at this
prestige.
point. And then for HaNeul just being like, I don't have a job. Like...
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be working. That is what I do. I don't know how to not.
I know nothing else.
Right.
The next relationship I wanted to talk about was HaNeul and her family. She seems very dismissive of them at face value, I think. And some of that is just her personality. She's a workaholic.
Yeah.
She doesn't really place value on personal relationships, kind of like what we saw like in the high school flashback where she just got so used to making the excuses that she pushed everyone away even when maybe she necessarily didn't want to. And her family's her family. You know, they love her no matter what, but she doesn't necessarily connect with them super well, I think. Because some of the things they talk about are a bit frivolous. And her brother's just kind of a twerp. Oh,
I love Bada, though. He is... I love that he will call things as he sees them.
Yeah.
Even if he has the wrong information. Because he doesn't have... Like, when he talks about JeongWoo, and he's just like, he's on trial for this because he did this and da-da. Like, he doesn't have all of the information. But he's not going to just be like, yeah, sister, go hang out with this guy who's living on the rooftop.
Who may have murdered
someone. Like, or, you know, being like, I mean,
I found pills.
He's a turd going through her room looking for money.
Yeah.
And being like, I found these. We can look them up and see what it is. And so when the next day when, you know, HaNeul's at home and her and mom are kind of just tiptoeing around each other, and he walks in and is like, I heard you have depression. And her mom being upset and him looking like, no, like, we're family. We need to talk about this and help her get better.
She's never going to get better if we dance around the fact that she is sick.
he is a turd. He's a total little brother. I have one, I know. Love you. But he cares about his sister. It's just like
in his own twerpy way.
Even her uncle is.
Her uncle's so sweet.
He's
the father figure.
Yes.
That is lacking. Her father died.
Right.
And I think that there might be some level of, if I had known more, I could have helped save him. I don't know. I haven't watched that far. But it seems like there's probably some strain on HaNeul just with losing that relationship that may have driven her to want to take care of her family because her dad is no longer around. Her relationship with her mom. I have run into this myself just with people that I know personally. When something happens to you that is tough, they just make it about how sad they feel about it. Yeah. And they're like, I just can't believe that I never saw this, and I feel so sad that I couldn't be there to help. And it's like, it's not about you.
Yeah.
This is not about you. Stop. I'm sorry that you're sad that I'm sad. Deal with it.
That's not helping me
at all. Don't put that on me. I
I
don't need your sad on top of my sad. It's just this whole, like, being piteous, and that's just, like, a cultural thing that I have run into with, like, that specific generation of people. I don't know how it is, with everyone, but just people of that generation, especially being, like, an adoptee, where people are just like, I'm so sad for you. Your life is so sad. It's so pitiful because, you got taken away from. It's like, I don't feel that sad.
That's not my opinion.
I don't need pity. Thanks, but no thanks.
Go figure that out for yourself.
But I saw that, like, in her trying to come to grips with the fact that her daughter has depression. I was irritated. Anyway. She's trying to make herself feel like she didn't fail as a mom by fixing her depression. Air quotes. Fixing her depression.
Yeah. And that's not how that works.
Yeah.
So. Even HaNeul's best friend, Hongran, she is a good character, but she is a bit pushy with what she thinks, like, her opinions. She kind of just shoves them on
of
HaNeul.
Others.
Well, and she doesn't, like, HaNeul tells her, like, I'm depressed, like, I have depression, and she's like, oh, everybody gets depressed sometimes. And so she doesn't know how to, like, stop and actually, like, listen. She obviously, she cares very, very much about her best friend. Like, that's not, like, she's like, okay, yeah, da 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 da, but she has a little bit. And she has her own things going on, as we will discover throughout the show. But
she, even when she learns that the diagnosis is legitimate, she's still very much like, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Tell me about your first love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like how serious this feels. So we're going to move on to the cute boy that's living on your rooftop.
Yeah, he's your first love.
Yeah. And I don't know if I like that or dislike that.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, HaNeul was kind of like, it just is what it is.
Yeah, and maybe that's just how their relationship is.
We're just gonna, like, move past it. Yeah. She is a very like you said, a very tell it like it is kind of person. So just maybe clearing the air that way, they're fine again. I don't know. But at the same time, it's kind of like, do you offer to talk about it more? Because the friend relationship versus a family relationship is going to be different. The dynamics are different. You disclose things to your family you don't to your friends, and things to your friends you don't to your family. And so all those interconnected relationships help in their own way.
Right.
But she was just kind of like, yeah, let's get to the cute boy on the rooftop.
And so at the same time, though, HaNeul is very, like,
also compartmentalizes.
Completely. Yeah. She's
Yeah.
just like, I just don't share things with people. I don't have a lot of relationships with people. So, like, why would I?
And I guess she's getting that with JeongWoo, so
Right.
maybe it's...
So, yeah, there's that iffy moments with
Yeah.
Hongran. So,
And then I kind of wanted to talk about, like, JeongWoo and his circle of people. And we've sort of talked about it already.
His mom's a piece of work.
He is surrounded by parasites.
Yeah.
And he gives and gives and gives and gives, even when he doesn't take any credit for it. And they just, like, spit in his face. Like,
Relentlessly.
Like at the reunion where he goes, I sold all of my belongings to pay off your debts first, to pay off your fines first, so that you wouldn't be affected.
Mm-hmm. After knowing and even telling them, I already knew that you were taking money
From me.
And I just didn't say anything because I figured you needed it.
Mm-hmm. And they were trying to paint this picture of who he was behind his back, saying, we quit our jobs for him. We gave up everything for him. And he just let us. And he goes, and he doesn't correct them in front of the other people. He lets them save face. But in the other in the private conversation, he says, you quit your job because you hated it.
And you were drunk.
And you quit your job because you were drunk and called your boss.
Well, yeah, the one was about to get fired.
Yeah.
And,
like, how is this my fault? You already had a foot out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, anyway.
That's one of the maddening moments of our...
yeah.
so far. But yeah, just that moment of just, like, I thought we were friends. And I guess I thought I was the only one who had that opinion.
Yeah.
Like...
But it's just so interesting to me how he's so charismatic and so well liked by people that everyone wants to be near him, but no one wants to go through the trenches with him. Yeah. Once he loses that popularity, they're like, oh, well, you're not valuable to me anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't care about your time. I don't care about what's going on with you. I'm just going to distance myself. So he never really had a support circle. He just had fans.
Yeah.
Or leeches, I don't...
Or Daeyoung, who can't stand him.
I appreciate Daeyoung a
little
bit.
He, because he calls him out and is just like, they're at the awards ceremony and he's like, he's just so annoying. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe he got popular with NeoTube, like...
Yeah.
And JeongWoo is a bit inconsiderate of just taking his chair and just taking the glass that, he's about to pour wine in. And he's like, that was my seat, and this is my glass of wine. And him just going, oh, I'm sorry. Everybody around me always says this. I just kind of, like, my bad. So he at least, like, recognizes, oh, like, you're right, this isn't what we do.
Yeah.
But for him to just be like, you're gonna, like, karma's gonna come for you if you're this way, and then he gets the award. But then when Daeyoung sees JeongWoo, like, at the trial and being like, what he's being accused of, he's like, he wouldn't do that.
Well, he even says, should I be there? I should go. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't even like the guy.
Right.
But he cares about him.
Right. And and even, like, he's in his office, but even when his nurses come in, he's like, no, he wouldn't do that. Why would you delete the CCTV footage of just that area? That makes you look suspicious. Like, he knows. He's like, yeah, I don't care for him, but he's not a bad person. Like, he wouldn't be sketchy. He wouldn't do anything shady. So, like...
Because he's always seen his flaws.
Right.
He's never seen JeongWoo the celebrity. He's always seen JeongWoo the doctor. Mm-hmm. And he sees him as a peer. And so, when bad things happen to people that are in your circle, you're not like, unless you're just a jerk. So I hope that they get into a little bit of a bromance. I'm rooting for it.
We are always here for the bromance.
We're rooting for the bromance. I am interested to see that blind date was just atrocious.
Oh, that hurt.
And Daeyeon. Oh. I'm interested to see how things play out with Hongran. Mm-hmm. I feel like because there's a little bit of, like, indifference from Hongran that there is going to be a romance there. That's what I'm hoping for, at least.
Fingers crossed.
They both have children.
Yeah.
Moments that angered you.
The barbecue. When the barbecue place.
Yeah.
When JeongWoo and HaNeul are like, yeah, we're gonna go for drinks, and they walk into a restaurant, and he had forgotten that there was a class reunion because his life fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And they get pulled into it, and they're like, can't believe you guys are hanging out together. And HaNeul actually like
Covers
saves
for him.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, I needed help on a dissertation, so I reached out. And then that classmate just being like, can't believe you would want to hang out with him. Like, you all know what's going on. And actually says maybe he did kill his patient. And JeongWoo was sitting there like, cool. Well,
yeah.
I'm gonna leave now. Like, I don't need to be part of this. To then have his friends come after him and
Still
his
accuse
quote
him.
friends and accuse him and be like,
I had hoped that they were going to be like, that sucked.
yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, we should have stopped him.
But no.
Something, no. And they just like, did you kill that patient? And for him to just be like,
if you have to ask, then we're done having this conversation.
yeah, I don't need to.
I do think after they learned about how he paid off their debts, that they were just like, what have we done? Like, we used to be friends.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of remorse there, but I don't know if it really plays out in any way.
Was very much more of a drunken remorse rather than
it does
actual
make me
feeling.
sad, though, to see in the flashbacks, to see them be friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes back to present day, and it's just, there's so much animosity between them.
Yeah.
I would like for it to resolve, but I don't really know that they're going to go that route with it.
Let me go through my notes here.
The job with Kyungmin.
Yeah. I don't care for him.
Well, obviously, because
Kyungmin,
he's planted cameras in JeongWoo's apartment.
Yeah, and
we don't...
and office and saying, "Oh, hey, look, I found this."
Yeah.
Maybe he did find it, but I don't remember. I've watched so much in the last year.
They have painted it in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
Because the first time I watched it, I thought that was Seokjin. Jinso. Jinso.
I was like, what? Not Kim Seok-jin.
No, I knew it was the reverse of that, so I had to say it to remember his name.
To remember. HaNeul has the interview, and the director of that hospital had called Kyungmin, and he was like, oh, yeah, no, I don't remember if he said if she quit or got fired or whatever, but, like, she's going to cause problems, and she's dramatic. Well, no, you need to get the full story, and, then Jung was like, dude.
Yeah.
You can't just give half the story. Like, don't forget the other half. The other one that was very maddening was when before she quits her job, and she had gone in to help her professor of anesthesiology do a surgery on a VVIP.
Yes.
And he cannot do his job. He's terrible at it. And he keeps missing...
Because he's stolen people's work this whole time.
Right, and he keeps missing the vein, and she gets it first try, and the next day, she gets called in, and he's getting scolded. Why are there bruises all over my daughter? And when HaNeul shows up, he goes, it's her fault. I'm sorry I didn't teach her correctly, and, like, throws her. Not just throws her, he's shoving and kicking and pushing her underneath a truck of, like, this is her fault. And, he's just so abusive in the workplace, throwing stuff at her and gaslighting. Like,
yeah, and he's like, I'm going to be up for chief of anesthesia here in a couple of years. And what are you going to do with your life? You're just going to keep writing papers. just take the blame and let me move on with my life.
Right.
Basically. Like, I have something to lose. And it's like, okay, well then be good at your job. That doesn't seem that complicated.
Hello.
I don't know. I'm just, what do I know?
But yeah, that was...
Yeah, rage-inducing.
I love that she did rage at him, though.
She did.
And that was very satisfying. Of like, no.
The other half of that was rage-inducing was when he lied about her work status as a full-time employee.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to her ex-colleagues to be like, we need to go bring this to the light, and we all need to file a formal complaint together. And they're like, we're not going to rock the boat. You need to not come back here. We don't want to be seen with you. And she's just like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you're probably right. So they're just willing to, like...
Just take it. Take the hit.
Yeah, and it's a crappy thing.
That is a crappy thing.
There's a lot of those moments in this show because it's just such a sucky show for these guys right now.
A little bit rage-inducing, but also moving the plot is the break-ins.
Yeah.
To JeongWoo's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And then the planted camera.
Yeah.
But, like, who's breaking in? And
yeah. What is your motive?
Why are you planting a camera? Like, this guy has nothing.
Oh, yeah. The things that were rage-inducing also were trying to pin down this guy, Jinseok. And he goes to the new clinic that he works at. Mm-hmm. And the guy just, like, walks past him behind the steps. And they're like, oh, this was his last day. He's immigrating out of the country. I'm sorry, what?
He's supposed to be my witness.
And then I love how immediately, though, JeongWoo recognizes the fact that this guy is toying with him and trying to get him a guilty verdict. Like, he's trying to make it look bad. Mm-hmm. So that the jury will say he's guilty.
Right.
Rather than they're dancing around this, oh, well, maybe he had good intentions. And it's like, no.
He's kind of the worst.
Scum of the earth. Anyway, I don't know how to wrap any of this up.
I don't either.
How do you feel about the show so far?
I mean, it's super relatable in many different ways. I mean, even the little wins that they have together of, I mean, she gets the interview because the night before they were drinking and she's like, I'm going to send my resume out. And he's like, do it. Go for it. Like, they figuring out how to be friends with each other, figuring out how to encourage one another, because they are the only person that can understand. And I really enjoy that HaNeul is in JeongWoo's corner. Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, that probably was never her intention when, she first saw him on the rooftop of her house, but to be like,
with her bras chilling
with her bras, and he gets hit in the face with one.
Yeah, forgot about that. That was amazing.
But like, and he's able to recognize this person has my back. Mm-hmm. She even tells him like, yeah, you're childish, but you would never do something and blatantly lie about it
because you're childish. You're not capable of murder.
Or their ability to, like, let's go watch the sunrise and, like, shake and agree to be friends. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, we're in each other. Yeah, and she has more people in her corner because she has her support system. But she's also trying to maybe bring them alongside to be like, he wouldn't do that. Like, we can be in his corner, too.
I love that I think through her, is reliving his childhood, and she through him is having her first childhood because she worked
and studied.
First, yeah. So they're trying to rediscover joy, I think. Mm-hmm. Because all of JeongWoo's joy was in his accolades, and HaNeul doesn't have joy. So they're learning. They're learning to find joy in the mundane, I think. And
or peace.
yeah, and that's just something that everybody has to do, is find those ways to, I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Ways to spark joy.
Mine is napping to Vincenzo. It's so warm in this sweater. I'm like rocking myself to sleep over here. Anyway.
Okay, well, that's the first 4 episodes. What are you most excited and looking forward to for the next 4 episodes? Or hoping that will happen?
I am excited to see their relationship deepen. I would also like to see a little bit more of the secondary relationship, because it feels like it's gonna be a little bit of like comedic relief.
Yeah.
And then I need us to progress the trials. I feel like those have not really been explored. Like, we need to prove him innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And I want us to get to that point. As well as getting to the bottom of who this guy is. Was he hired like to put out a hit on this heiress because it's like a mob boss or a competing casino, or like all of maybe he just is a bad dude who likes to kill people for funsies, or is he someone from JeongWoo's past?
That shouldn't be funny to me, but
we've hit a wall. Or is it someone from JeongWoo's past who is just looking to screw him over for
being
some
successful
specific reason? Yeah, I don't know. I have questions. None of them immediately come to mind right now. Anyway.
How long did we ramble?
Only an hour and 20.
That's not bad.
No, we've talked about Goblin more than that. Or My ID. My ID was getting up to the 80-minute mark for a while there.
1.
Do you enjoy this show?
I do enjoy this show. I think as a rewatch, I'm gonna say maybe 9 months out from the last time.
A show baby.
Yeah.
Sorry. You were like, what do I say to that?
Okay.
The skepticism with which you said yeah was gold. That was beautiful.
But I'm just like, it's been long enough since I've seen it to be like, I remember big plot points because that's the easiest ones to remember, but just like the little things, like as a rewatch, are just so fun. And I mean, we love HyungSik. Like, I would say he's in my top 3 favorite K-drama actors. Like, anything that I've ever watched him in, I love, because he just, I don't know, he brings something different every single time. And there's just things
he
about...
He does have great range.
He does. Like, and so I love him in this character because there's like elements of other characters I've seen and I'm like, yeah, like there's Min Min in it. And then there's, there's just, he's fun. He's fun to watch.
You can tell he loves what he does.
Yeah. And I mean, even you reading
And he always has such great chemistry.
Yeah.
With his counterparts. Have
you seen some of the behind the scenes videos? Like, they've worked together before as well.
Yeah.
So they...
On the airs.
So they are, I would say maybe like at least friends from
Mm-hmm.
working together, and they goof around and they're having fun, and like
Yeah.
he's just so enjoyable. But like, even, I mean, you reading the quotes from the article of just being like, no, I tried to bring
Personal
experience into this, and like you can feel that, and you can see that of him just being like the first time I remember the first time watching episode, was it 1, when they see each other on the roof and he's just crying, and you're just like, I'm gonna start crying too. Like,
I love how they don't make it obvious though.
mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I really do enjoy this show.
I love how, I don't love, but I just, the way that they make him feel small in that moment is so, like, just kind of impactful. I don't know. You go from, like, seeing him on this pedestal to just, like, shrinking into a man. I don't know how else to describe it. And you just it just kind of pulls on your heartstrings a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I enjoy the show.
Yeah.
But I am very curious to see where it goes. If we're going to get a happy ending. I don't see Park HyungSik being in something we don't get a happy ending in, because I don't think I've seen him not get a happy ending. And I think this is classified as a romantic, like a dramedy.
Let me just...
Drama comedy. So that to me signals that we're going to get a happy ending.
Yeah, medical TV shows, romantic TV dramas.
Yeah, so... Anyway, I need to go lie down now.
It's time for her to fall asleep to Vincenzo.
It is. Keep an eye out for part 2 of this new show. We're also reviewing... Man, I'm so tired. We're also reviewing Business Proposal as an episodic, so make sure you're watching out for those episodes as well. Those will be releasing on Tuesdays. And our consolidated condensed reviews are going to be dropping on Thursdays. So, super excited to be covering a few more shows this time around for season 5. If you have any ideas that you would like to send us, please do. You can email us. The link is in the show notes. Or you can comment on our Instagram, on our Spotify, on our YouTube. There's lots of ways to reach out to us, so make sure you do. If you would like to get a shout out on our Instagram, make sure you go follow us there. The more you comment, the more we see you. So, anyway, we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
$1 in the jar. Like what you're hearing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any new episodes. We'd love to connect with you on our Instagram at The KDrama Show. For more behind-the-scenes content, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Links are in the show notes. Thanks for hanging out with us on The KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim, and we'll see you next time.